I'm Mike Flannery in Chicago. Russ Spencer is with us in Atlanta, and Elex Michaelson in Los Angeles, where Super Tuesday votes are still being counted. Elex, Bernie Sanders leading over Joe Biden, but how close could the final tally actually be?
Well, we don't really know, because it could be, a week or so, if not more, until we find out who those votes are. We had people voting in lines for hours and hours. We were on at 11 o'clock last night. Even though the polls closed at 8 o'clock, people still in line because they keep them open. What a surprise, though, the size and scope of Joe Biden's win. I mean, Bernie Sanders, it felt like there was an establishment bomb.
Joe Biden did sweep through the southern states in a style reminiscent of General Sherman, conquering everything. Georgia votes a week after Illinois, which is on March 17th. You vote on the 24th. Is he in shape to also take Georgia again?
I don't think there's any question that he'll take Georgia. I mean, look at the margin in South Carolina. He won North Carolina, Tennessee, Alabama, so we're surrounded. I think it's very likely that Joe Biden is going to win Georgia, and by a sizable margin. And I hear what Elex is saying about this establishment bomb, but I imagine that African-American voters here in the South might roll their eyes and say, hey, wait a minute, we had a lot to do, in fact, perhaps more than anybody else to do with putting Joe Biden in a position to win the way he did on Super Tuesday.
I was just with Joe Biden about an hour ago, and we asked him that question about the establishment going after Bernie Sanders, and he said, the establishment are African-American voters. The establishment are moms in the suburbs. That's the establishment. That's who's backing me. And Bernie Sanders responded to that, saying, essentially, the establishment are the corporate billionaires that are backing you.
Yeah, well, that nitwit Marianne Williamson, who has endorsed Bernie, she was calling it a coup on Twitter last night. Hey, Russ, let me ask you, lots of speculation that Stacey Abrams from Georgia might be a VP pick. Is that real?
I honestly don't know, Mike, but I know that she would take it. She has made it very clear that she wants to be president of the United States herself. She's very well spoken, came within 55,000 votes of being our governor 2 years ago, and then last year was chosen by the Democrats to do the response for the State of the Union address, and did a very fine job. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if Joe Biden were to choose an African-American. He'd get a two for an African-American woman. We'll just have to see.
Right. Alex, let me ask you about the impact of Mike Bloomberg dropping out, endorsing Biden, and indicating he's going to continue to keep spending big bucks to defeat Donald Trump. First, of course, Biden has to defeat Bernie Sanders.
Right.
How does that, I mean, California is obviously not in play in the fall, but some congressional districts are. There were a lot of them that were flipped by Democratic freshmen. Will Biden help? Would he be stronger to help them than Sanders?
Well, that's certainly the argument of the Biden campaign, right? That essentially, if you have him, you got a lot better chance of keeping those districts. Mike Bloomberg was helpful in flipping a lot of districts in 2018 because he funded many of those people who are now going to be defending their seats in swing districts. But, Mike Bloomberg's got $62 billion. So even if he spends $1 billion on this race, he won't even feel that. So if he really is all in, and we'll see what that actually looked like, that is a complete game changer for the entire dynamics of this race. And interestingly, Bernie Sanders says, if Mike Bloomberg wants to give me $1 billion, I'm not going to take it. I don't want his money.
Yeah. Here in Illinois, I do think that Biden on the ticket is stronger for the two Republican districts that got flipped by Democratic freshmen here in 18. How about down in Georgia, in the suburbs there? Is that's the dream the Democrats have, Russ, of flipping Georgia into the blue column?
Well, you're absolutely right. And there was some movement in 2018 in that direction. 2016 as well. Hillary Clinton won Gwinnett and Cobb counties to the north of Atlanta. That hadn't happened for a Democrat in quite a long time. But for some perspective, there's a UGA poll that just came out today that shows Donald Trump with a 51-43 lead over Joe Biden and a 54% approval rating, higher than before the impeachment proceedings. So
wow,
the president will look at that and might feel pretty good.
Yeah, boy, Donald Trump will be smiling at that survey. Russ in Atlanta, thank you very much. Elex in L.A., guys, so much fun. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.